You stand on a trembling Earth, the sky ablaze with streaks of fire. It's 66 million years ago, and a cosmic intruder, a massive asteroid, slams into the Yucatan Peninsula, where Mexico's beaches now bask. The ground
Look at this
heaves,
bone.
and a wave of
It's like a
destruction
sky
ripples
serpent.
outward, flattening forests and igniting the
legend.
air. But this isn't just a story of annihilation. Hidden in the chaos, something extraordinary happens. A single gene in a dinosaur's DNA mutates, setting off a chain reaction that could explain the mythical beasts of ancient tales. You're about to unravel a theory that ties a catastrophic crash to legends of dragons and serpents. Ready to dive into the science? Let's start with the asteroid. Picture a rock the size of Mount Everest hurtling through space at 20 miles per second. That's faster than a jet tearing across the US from New York to LA in under 10 minutes. When it hits, it releases energy equivalent to 100 trillion tons of TNT. Think of every nuclear bomb ever tested, multiplied 1,000,000 times. The impact craters the Earth, creating the Chicxulub crater, a 93-mile-wide scar still visible today. Dust and soot choke the sky, blocking sunlight and plunging the planet into a cold, dark, impact winter. Plants die, food chains collapse, and dinosaurs, those mighty rulers of the Mesozoic, face a brutal end. But was this the whole story? Here's where it gets wild. The asteroid didn't just kill. It may have rewritten life's code. Imagine DNA as a cosmic recipe book, each gene a line of instructions. Extreme stress, like radiation from the impact or toxic chemicals in the fallout, can flip a single letter in that book, creating a mutation. Most mutations are duds, like a typo in a recipe that ruins your grandma's apple pie. But every now and then, a mutation is a game changer, like adding a secret ingredient that makes the pie legendary. Scientists theorize that the asteroid's fallout, radiation, heat, and chemical chaos, could have triggered genetic changes in surviving dinosaurs, sparking traits that made them seem otherworldly. Picture yourself stargazing in Yellowstone National Park, the Milky Way sparkling above. You're a sci-fi fan, raised on Interstellar's black holes and Star Wars' epic battles. The idea of dinosaurs morphing into mythical creatures feels like something from a blockbuster. Could a velociraptor, stressed by the apocalypse, develop traits that inspired tales of griffins or dragons? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. In 1980, physicist Luis Alvarez and his team discovered a thin layer of iridium, a rare metal from asteroids, in rocks dated to 66 million years ago. This iridium spike confirmed the Chicxulub impact's role in the extinction. But what if it also marked the birth of something new? Here's a quirky fact. The asteroid's impact may have supercharged evolution. Fossils from the time show some dinosaurs survived the initial catastrophe, clinging to life in a hellish world. These survivors faced intense pressure, starvation, cold, and radiation. Under such stress, DNA can go haywire, like a computer glitching under overload. Some scientists suggest these conditions could have accelerated mutations, giving rise to bizarre traits. Think of it like nature rolling the dice, hoping for a critical hit. Did some dinosaurs sprout feathers that shimmered like dragon scales? Could their roars have inspired tales of monstrous serpents? Now, let's toss in a joke. Why did the dinosaur's DNA mutate? Because it wanted to be a legendary lizard. Okay, maybe not. But the idea of genetic chaos sparking myths is thrilling. You're standing at the edge of a cosmic mystery, where science meets campfire stories. The asteroid's crash wasn't just an end. It might have been a beginning. So, here's a question to ponder. If one mutation could turn dinosaurs into mythical beasts, What kind of legends might humanity inspire one day? You're floating in the void of space, staring at a colossal asteroid barreling toward Earth. It's 66 million years ago, and this cosmic wrecking ball, 10 miles wide, glows red hot as it slices through the atmosphere. You feel the tension, like waiting for the climactic explosion in a sci-fi blockbuster like Interstellar. The impact is coming, and it's about to unleash chaos that could rewrite dinosaur DNA. Was this fiery crash the spark that turned ordinary reptiles into the mythical beasts of legend? Let's break down the science. This asteroid, now called the Chicxulub impactor, slams into the Yucatan Peninsula with the force of 1 billion Hiroshima bombs. The collision vaporizes rock, sending molten debris skyrocketing. A shockwave flattens everything for hundreds of miles. Imagine a tsunami of fire sweeping across what's now Texas and Florida. The sky turns black with soot and dust, blocking the sun. Temperatures plummet, and an impact winter grips the planet for years. Plants wither, and herbivores like Triceratops starve, leaving carnivores like T-Rex with nothing to hunt. It's a brutal apocalypse. But the real twist lies in what happens next. The impact doesn't just destroy, it shakes life to its core. Picture DNA as a delicate string of code, like the programming behind your favorite video game. Extreme conditions, radiation from the impact, toxic chemicals in the fallout, can scramble that code. Scientists know that high-energy radiation, like gamma rays from the asteroid's blast, can break DNA strands, causing mutations. Most are harmful, like a bug crashing your game. But some mutations are like rare power-ups, giving creatures new abilities. Could the asteroid's chaos have flipped a genetic switch, giving dinosaurs traits that seemed supernatural? You're now standing in a national park like Yellowstone. The ground beneath you, a reminder of Earth's violent past. As a sci-fi fan, you've imagined alien worlds. But this is stranger. A real event that might have birthed mythical creatures. In 1991, geologists found shocked quartz, crystals warped by intense pressure, in rocks from the impact site, proving the asteroid's catastrophic force. This wasn't just a crash. It was a planet-shattering event that stressed every living thing. Survivors, battered by radiation and starvation, might have passed on mutated genes, setting the stage for something extraordinary. Here's a quirky fact. The asteroid's fallout included sulfur particles that triggered acid rain, poisoning rivers and lakes. Imagine dinosaurs drinking from streams that sting like battery acid. Under this stress, their DNA could have gone into overdrive, like a car engine pushed to the red line. Some scientists propose that rapid mutations in surviving dinosaurs led to traits like unusual scales or elongated claws, fueling ancient stories of serpents or dragons. It's like nature sketching a monster movie on Earth's canvas. And for a quick laugh, why did the asteroid hit Earth? It was aiming for a dino-sized party. Jokes aside, the impact's aftermath was no celebration. It was a genetic crucible. You're witnessing the moment when destruction might have sown the seeds of legend. So, what do you think hit harder? The asteroid or the volcanoes that joined the chaos? Ponder that for a moment. You're zooming into the microscopic world, hovering inside a dinosaur's cell as its DNA unravels like a glowing, twisted ladder. It's 66 million years ago, and the asteroid's chaos has left Earth a wasteland. Amid the destruction, a single gene in this dinosaur's DNA mutates, sparking traits so strange they might inspire tales of dragons or griffins. You're about to explore how one tiny genetic twist could turn a velociraptor into a creature of legend. Could this be the key to mythical beasts? Let's dive into the science of DNA. Think of DNA as the universe's ultimate instruction manual, a code that tells every creature how to build itself. Each gene is like a sentence, guiding traits like scales, claws, or eyes. A mutation is a random edit, sometimes a typo, sometimes a masterpiece. After the Chicxulub asteroid hit, radiation and toxic chemicals flooded the environment, like a cosmic hacker tampering with the code. These stressors could break DNA strands, causing errors during repair. Most mutations crash the system, like a buggy app. But a rare few unlock wild new features, like a dinosaur with shimmering feathers or an eerie glow. Picture the chaos. A velociraptor, battered by acid rain and starvation, limps through a scorched forest. Its DNA, under pressure, glitches. A single gene flips, altering proteins that control feather growth. Suddenly, its feathers elongate, catching light like a peacock's tail on steroids. Could this dazzling display, seen by early humans millions of years later, spark tales of phoenixes or dragons? Scientists know mutations can happen fast under stress. Think of Chernobyl's wildlife, where radiation spurred odd traits in just decades. The asteroid's fallout was like Chernobyl on a global scale, pushing dinosaur DNA to the edge. You're now in a modern lab, like one at NASA's Ames Research Center, where scientists study life's resilience. You're a sci-fi fan, thrilled by Star Wars alien creatures. And this feels like uncovering a real-life origin story. In 1953, Stanley Miller's famous experiment showed that lightning and chemicals could create life's building blocks. The asteroid's impact mimicked those conditions, spewing chemicals that could have rewired DNA. A quirky fact: some dinosaurs, like theropods, already had protofeathers, fluffy structures for warmth. A mutation might have turned these into vibrant, scale-like feathers, making a creature look straight out of a myth. Here's a joke to lighten the mood. Why did the dinosaur's DNA get a makeover? It wanted to be a fossilized fashion icon. Seriously, though, these genetic changes weren't just cosmetic. They could have helped survivors adapt to a brutal world, like growing thicker skin or sharper claws. You're standing at the crossroads of science and legend, where a single gene might bridge reality and myth. So, here's a question. If you could design a mutation for a dinosaur, what trait would you give it to make it legendary? You're standing on a scorched plain, the air thick with ash, and the ground trembling beneath your feet. It's 66 million years ago, and the Deccan Traps, massive volcanoes in what's now India, erupt with fury, spewing lava and toxic gases. The asteroid's impact was a punch, but these volcanoes are a relentless chokehold, pushing dinosaur DNA to the breaking point. Could their fiery chaos have amplified the mutations that turned dinosaurs into mythical beasts? You're about to explore how Earth's fiery temper fueled a genetic revolution. Let's unpack the science. The Deccan Traps weren't just a few volcanoes. They were a volcanic apocalypse, covering an area the size of Texas with molten rock. Over hundreds of thousands of years, they released enough lava to bury the U.S. under 600 feet of basalt. This wasn't a one-day event. It was a slow-motion catastrophe. The eruptions pumped out sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide, creating a greenhouse effect that swung Earth's climate from freezing to scorching. These gases also turned rain acidic, like vinegar pouring from the sky. For dinosaurs, it was like living in a toxic sauna, stressing their bodies and DNA to the limit. Now, imagine DNA as a tightly wound spring. Extreme conditions, like the volcano's heat, radiation, or chemical toxins, can make that spring snap, causing mutations. Scientists know environmental stress can boost mutation rates, like in bacteria exposed to pollutants. The Deccan Traps toxic cocktail could have scrambled dinosaur genes, altering traits like skin texture or bone structure. Picture a hadrosaur, its DNA glitching under volcanic stress, growing jagged scales or an elongated neck. Could these changes have inspired tales of serpents slithering through ancient myths? You're now hiking through Yellowstone, where geysers hiss like echoes of those ancient volcanoes. As a sci-fi fan, you love Star Wars Mustafar, a lava-soaked planet that feels eerily similar. The Deccan Traps were Earth's own Mustafar, reshaping life itself. A historical fact. In 2015, geologists dated Deccan lava flows, showing they peaked right around the asteroid's impact, doubling the chaos. A quirky fact. Volcanic ash from the traps left glassy particles in sediments worldwide, like glitter from a geological party. These conditions pushed survivors to adapt or die, with mutations as their wild card. Here's a quick joke. Why did the dinosaur hate volcanoes? They kept stealing its spotlight. Jokes aside, the Deccan Traps didn't just kill, they may have sculpted legends. Mutated dinosaurs, struggling in this hellscape, might have looked like creatures from another world. Their odd traits burned into the memories of early humans. You're witnessing a planet where fire and genes collided to create something extraordinary. So, what do you think was the deadlier force? Volcanoes or the genetic chaos they unleashed? You're trudging through a post-apocalyptic wasteland, ash falling like snow around you. It's 66 million years ago, just after the asteroid and volcanoes turned Earth into a graveyard. Yet, some dinosaurs cling to life, scarred, transformed, their bodies warped by mutations. You spot a theropod, its feathers now iridescent, its claws unnaturally long. Could these survivors, reshaped by genetic chaos, have inspired ancient tales of serpents, griffins, or dragons? You're about to uncover how the last dinosaurs became the stuff of legend. Let's dive into the science. After the Chicxulub impact and Deccan Traps eruptions, most dinosaurs perished, but a few, especially small, adaptable theropods, survived. Think of them as the ultimate underdogs. Like a scrappy team pulling through a cosmic Super Bowl. Extreme conditions pushed their DNA to mutate, like a slot machine spitting out wild combinations. These mutations could have altered physical traits, feathers turning vibrant, bones elongating, or eyes glowing in the dark. Scientists studying modern birds, direct dinosaur descendants, know that stress can trigger rapid genetic changes. A single gene tweak can make a bird's feathers flare like a peacock's or sharpen a beak into a weapon. Now, imagine you're an early human, thousands of years later, stumbling across a fossil of one of these mutated survivors. Its skull is elongated, its fossilized feathers glinting like scales. You're a storyteller, raised on campfire tales in places like the Grand Canyon. And this creature screams dragon or serpent. Ancient cultures worldwide, from China's dragons to Native American thunderbirds, told stories of giant, fantastical beasts. Could these myths stem from real mutated dinosaurs? The idea isn't just sci-fi fantasy. It's a bridge between fossils and folklore. Picture yourself at a stargazing event in Yellowstone, the sky alive with constellations. You're a fan of Interstellar, where science and wonder collide, and this theory feels like a script Nolan would love. A historical fact. In 1923, paleontologist Roy Chapman Andrews found dinosaur fossils in Mongolia's Gobi Desert, inspiring tales of ancient monsters. A quirky fact. Some theropod fossils show feather impressions so vivid they look like dragon wings caught in stone. These survivors, transformed by genetic chaos, might have left echoes in human imagination, their strange forms immortalized in myth. Here's a joke to lighten the mood. Why did the mutated dinosaur become a legend? It had the best fossilized fan base. Seriously, these creatures weren't just survivors. They were shapeshifters. Their mutated traits sparking stories that lasted millennia. You're standing where science meets myth, where a velociraptor's glow could become a dragon's fire. So, which mythical creature do you think matches a mutated dinosaur best? You're crouched in a misty, post-apocalyptic jungle, watching a small theropod dart past. Its feathers shimmer with unnatural colors, some hardening into scale-like plates. It's 66 million years ago, and the genetic chaos from the asteroid and volcanoes is rewriting life. Could these bizarre transformations, feathers morphing into scales or claws growing razor-sharp, have turned dinosaurs into the dragons of ancient myths? You're about to explore how a genetic leap made survivors look like creatures from another world. Let's break down the science. Feathers didn't start as flight tools. They were insulation, like a dinosaur's cozy winter jacket. Theropods, like velociraptors, had fluffy proto-feathers, but under extreme stress. Think radiation or chemical toxins from the Deccan Traps. Their DNA could have gone rogue. A single gene mutation can change how proteins build feathers, turning soft fluff into rigid, scale-like structures. Think of it like tweaking a 3D printer's code. One small change, and you're printing armor instead of fabric. Modern studies on birds show that genes like hawks can flip feather growth into scale-like forms, like a chicken sprouting reptilian skin. Now, picture that theropod again. Its mutated genes make its feathers glint like polished metal. Or maybe they harden into plates that catch the sun. To an early human, this creature isn't just a dinosaur. It's a dragon. Straight out of a sci-fi epic like Star Wars' Rancor Beast. These changes weren't random. They helped survivors adapt to a brutal world. Scales could protect against acid rain, or vibrant feathers could signal strength to mates. Fossils of dinosaurs like Uteranus show feathers that look almost mythical, blending fluff and armor in ways that scream legend. You're now stargazing in the Grand Tetons, the rugged peaks reminding you of Earth's violent past. As a fan of Interstellar's cosmic stakes, you feel the thrill of connecting science to myth, a historical fact. In 2004, scientists discovered Microraptor, a dinosaur with glossy, raven-like feathers, hinting at how mutations could create otherworldly traits. A quirky fact: some modern birds, like peacocks, have feathers so vibrant they seem alien. Imagine that dialed up in a dinosaur. These genetic leaps turn survivors into creatures that could inspire awe across millennia. Here's a joke to keep it light. Why did the dinosaur grow scales? It wanted to be a fossilized fashionista. Jokes aside, these transformations were nature's gamble, turning dinosaurs into something unforgettable. You're witnessing a moment where genes painted monsters on Earth's canvas. So, what do you think? Would feathers or scales make the ultimate mythical beast? You're huddled by a crackling campfire in Yellowstone, the night sky blazing with stars. The air carries whispers of ancient tales, stories of dragons, thunderbirds, and serpents passed down through generations. It's millennia after the dinosaurs, and you're wondering, could these myths, told by early humans, hold echoes of mutated dinosaurs? You're about to explore how the genetic chaos of 66 million years ago might have shaped the monsters in humanity's oldest stories. Let's dive into the science of storytelling. Humans are hardwired to weave narratives, especially about creatures that inspire awe or fear. After the asteroid and Deccan Traps wreaked havoc, surviving dinosaurs, small theropods with mutated traits like shimmering scales or elongated claws, roamed a battered Earth. Imagine their fossils, preserved in stone, discovered by early humans. A velociraptor skull with odd horn-like growths could look like a dragon's head. Scientists know that fossils influenced myths. Ancient Greeks mistook dinosaur bones for giants. A mutated dinosaur with feathers like wings or scales like armor could easily spark tales of mythical beasts. Picture yourself as an ancient storyteller, gazing at a fossil under the same starry sky you see in Yellowstone. You're a sci-fi fan, loving Star Wars mythical creatures like the Krayt dragon, and this feels like uncovering their origin. These mutated dinosaurs, with traits exaggerated by genetic chaos, weren't just animals. They were spectacles. A theropod with glowing feathers or a serpentine neck could have been etched into oral traditions, evolving into legends of fire-breathing dragons or sky-soaring thunderbirds. Native American myths, like the Lakota's thunderbird, describe giant, winged creatures, eerily similar to a mutated microraptor. A historical fact. In the 12th century, Chinese scholars described dragon bones that were likely dinosaur fossils, used in medicine and fueling folklore. A quirky fact. Some dinosaur fossils show bite marks from other dinosaurs, suggesting fierce, almost mythical battles that could have inspired epic tales. You're standing where science meets imagination, where a mutated claw or feather became a story told around campfires from Yellowstone to ancient China. These tales weren't just fantasy. They might have been glimpses of a chaotic past. Here's a joke to spark a smile. Why did the dinosaur inspire myths? It had a roarsome reputation. Jokes aside, these mutated survivors left a mark on human culture, their strange forms woven into our stories. You're connecting the dots between fossils and folklore, where a single gene could birth a legend. So, what monster story would you tell around a campfire, inspired by a mutated dinosaur? You're standing in a sleek NASA lab, surrounded by humming computers and glowing screens analyzing ancient DNA. Outside, the stars twinkle, reminding you of Interstellar's cosmic journeys. It's the present day, but your mind is on 66 million years ago, when a mutated gene turned dinosaurs into creatures that could inspire dragons or griffins. Could the line between science and sci-fi fantasy blur, linking real genetic chaos to the mythical beasts of legend? You're about to explore where hard science meets the wild imagination. Let's get into the science. Mutations aren't just random glitches, they're nature's experiments. After the Chicxulub asteroid and Deccan Traps volcanoes, surviving dinosaurs faced a crucible of radiation, toxins, and climate swings. These stressors could have flipped genes like switches, altering traits. Think feathers turning iridescent or claws growing wickedly curved. Scientists studying modern genetics, like at NASA's exobiology labs, know that extreme environments can spark rapid evolution. For example, bacteria in radioactive zones mutate to survive, like superheroes gaining powers. A dinosaur with a mutated gene might have looked so alien, it seems straight out of a sci-fi script. Now picture yourself watching Star Wars, where creatures like the Krayt dragon roam Tatooine's deserts. You're a sci-fi fan, thrilled by the idea that real dinosaurs could have inspired such beasts. A mutated theropod, with scales glinting like armor or eyes glowing in the dark, could have left fossils that sparked ancient imaginations. Early humans, finding these bones, might have spun tales of fire-breathing monsters or winged serpents. The science of genetics, real, measurable changes in DNA, meets the fantasy of myth, where a velociraptor becomes a dragon in a storyteller's mind. A historical fact. In 1969, NASA's Apollo missions brought back moon rocks, inspiring studies of how cosmic events shape life. This mindset fuels research into how the asteroid's impact rewired dinosaur DNA. A quirky fact: some dinosaur fossils show asymmetrical features, like one claw longer than the other, hinting at mutations that could have looked monstrous. You're in a lab where science fiction feels real, where a single gene could bridge reality and legend. You're a stargazer in Yellowstone, dreaming of Interstellar's wormholes, and this theory feels like a portal to the past. Here's a joke to keep it fun. Why did the dinosaur love sci-fi? It wanted to star in Jurassic Wars. Jokes aside, the collision of science and fantasy is electrifying. You're seeing how a mutated gene could turn a dinosaur into a myth, blending NASA's precision with a storyteller's flair. So, what's your take? Does sci-fi or science tell the better story of these legendary creatures? You're gazing at a modern bird, a vibrant parrot perched in a forest, its feathers glinting like a lost echo of the dinosaurs. It's today, but your mind drifts to 66 million years ago, when a mutated gene reshaped survivors into creatures that might have inspired myths. Could those genetic changes still linger in the creatures around you, from birds to reptiles? You're about to explore how the asteroid and volcanoes' chaos left a legacy in DNA, possibly even in us, connecting dinosaurs to the present. Let's unpack the science. Birds are dinosaurs' closest living relatives, descending from small theropods that survived the Chicxulub impact and Deccan Traps eruptions. Those survivors carried mutated genes, forged in the crucible of catastrophe. Think of DNA as a cosmic library, with each gene a book passed down through generations. A mutation, like one for iridescent feathers or sharper claws, could have helped dinosaurs adapt, then carried forward into birds. Scientists studying avian genomes find traces of ancient genes, like those for teeth or tails, switched off, but still present, like dusty tomes on a shelf. The asteroid's chaos didn't just kill, it rewrote chapters of life's story. Picture a T. T-Rex's distant cousin, a tiny theropod with glowing feathers, scurrying through ash-choked forests. Its mutated genes, sparked by radiation or toxins, gave it an edge, letting it survive where others perished. Fast forward millions of years, and those genes echo in a hawk's sharp talons or a peacock's dazzling tail. You're a sci-fi fan, thrilled by Interstellar's time-bending narratives, and this feels like a real-life saga where dinosaurs' DNA whispers in today's creatures. Could a mutated gene even lurk in humans? A faint trace of that ancient chaos? You're stargazing in the Badlands, where dinosaur fossils litter the ground, feeling the weight of deep time. A historical fact: in 1996, the discovery of Sinosauropteryx revealed feathers on a non-avian dinosaur, proving birds' direct link to their ancestors. A quirky fact: some modern lizards, like the agama, have scales that shimmer like mythical dragon skin, hinting at ancient mutations. These genetic echoes bridge past and present, suggesting dinosaurs' legacy lives on, not just in fossils, but in living creatures. You're standing where science reveals a hidden thread, tying a catastrophic past to today's world. Here's a joke to spark a grin. Why do birds carry dinosaur DNA? They're just flying under the radar. Jokes aside, the idea that a mutated gene could link dinosaurs to modern myths is mind-blowing. You're seeing how a single genetic twist might still shape life, from parrots to people. So, what creature do you think carries the strongest echo of dinosaur DNA today? You're standing under a vast, starry sky in Yellowstone. The same stars that watched dinosaurs morph into legends 66 million years ago. The asteroid's crash and the Deccan Traps' fury sparked mutations that turned survivors into creatures of myth. Dragons, serpents, thunderbirds. Now you wonder, could humanity's genes, twisted by some future catastrophe, write our own mythical tales? You're about to explore how the same forces that reshaped dinosaurs might one day transform us, leaving echoes in the stories of tomorrow. Let's dive into the science. DNA is life's blueprint, but it's not set in stone. It's more like a cosmic sketchpad, open to revision. The asteroid and volcanoes stressed dinosaur DNA, sparking mutations that gave rise to bizarre traits. Today, humanity faces its own stressors: climate change, radiation from technology, or even cosmic events like solar flares. Scientists know that environmental pressures can trigger genetic changes. Think of how UV radiation causes mutations in skin cells. A future catastrophe could flip a gene in humans, altering traits in ways that seem fantastical, like enhanced senses or glowing skin, turning us into the stuff of legend. Picture yourself in a sci-fi future, like Interstellar's desolate Earth, where survivors adapt to a harsh world. A mutated gene might give humans sharper vision, like a hawk's, or resilience to toxins, like a tardigrade's. To distant descendants, these traits could seem mythical, inspiring tales of superhuman heroes or star-born beings. You're a fan of Star Wars, imagining Jedi-like figures born from genetic chaos. Early humans saw mutated dinosaurs and spun stories of dragons. Could our descendants see us as gods or monsters? Their myths rooted in our DNA? A historical fact. In 2003, the Human Genome Project mapped our DNA, revealing how small changes can reshape traits, echoing the dinosaur mutations of the past. A quirky fact: some humans already carry rare mutations, like tetrachromacy, letting them see millions more colors, almost a superpower. You're gazing at the stars, feeling the weight of deep time, where a single gene could turn humanity into a legend. This isn't just about dinosaurs. It's about the fragile, mutable thread connecting all life to the cosmos. Here's a joke to end with a smile. Why will humans become myths? We're already legendary at making trouble. Jokes aside, the idea that our genes could spark future myths is thrilling. You're part of a cosmic story, where catastrophe and mutation weave tales that echo across millennia. So, join the adventure. Hit like, subscribe, and share to uncover more cosmic secrets. Next time we'll ask, are we living in a simulation? Stay curious.